If this story sends a chill down your spine, hit that like button, drop a comment telling us where in the world you are watching from, and subscribe to Mr. Dark Whisper for new horror stories every single week. I found a binder in a lost and found cabinet that already knew everything I was going to do that night. The exact minute I would spill my coffee. The exact words the guest would say. The exact floor the elevator would take me to. And none of those floors should have existed. I am not a superstitious person. I fix what is broken, I write down what I fixed, and I move on. But what I found inside that cabinet at the Boleyn Hotel, what I read with my own eyes and then lived through, minute by minute, exactly as written, changed everything. Where I sleep, where I live, what kind of work I will and will not take. This is what happened on my fourth night. I took the overnight job at the Boleyn Hotel on a Tuesday afternoon in late March. Rain Lewis, the manager, walked me through the back hallways, the maintenance closet, the boiler room, the laundry setup in the basement. She talked fast and pointed at things. I nodded and kept my hands in my jacket pockets. Overnight shift is 11 to 7, she said. Quiet most nights. Guests don't call down much after midnight unless something's really broken. I had worked as a safety coordinator up in Tacoma before this. Left after a warehouse fire put 2 men I was responsible for into ambulances. A faulty wire junction in a storage area that I had missed on my last walkthrough. After that, I could not sleep. Every time a truck rolled past my apartment at night, I thought I could smell smoke drifting under the door. Rain looked at me like she wanted to ask why I had left Tacoma. She didn't. I wasn't planning to tell her anyway. Start Thursday, she said. 11 sharp. I showed up at 10:30. Astoria is the kind of town that always feels damp. Not raining, just wet. The wind off the Columbia River cuts straight through whatever you are wearing. The Boleyn sat right on the water. I could see the bridge lights reflecting off the river from the employee lot every night when I pulled in. And for a few seconds before every shift, I would stand there in the cold, looking at those lights. And something inside me would go quiet. The hotel was not fancy. 3 stories, maybe 60 rooms. A lobby that smelled like coffee and old carpet. Crown molding in the hallways. A heavy wooden front desk nobody makes anymore. Now it was mostly port workers and families passing through. The first 3 nights went exactly the same, and I needed that more than I can explain. Same dark roast from the Safeway on Marine Drive. Same paper time card. Same key ring, same radio, same punch list. Ice machine filters, clogged drains, dead smoke detectors. Predictable, quiet, safe. I treated the routine like a lifeline. The one stable thing I could lean on without it giving way. The 4th night, Rain was waiting for me in the back office when I clocked in. That was not normal. Corporate's coming through next week, she said. There is a locked, lost, and found cabinet that has been sitting for 2 years, maybe longer. I need you to go through it. Log everything, toss what is trash, box up anything worth keeping. She handed me a sticky note with the combination written in smudged blue ink. 32-16-8. Done by Sunday. Then she grabbed her bag and left. I stood there not wanting to do it. I know that sounds ridiculous. It was just a cabinet. But it was not on the punch list. It was not part of the routine. And I had been counting on tonight being exactly the same as the last 3 nights. The cabinet was about 6 feet tall, pushed against the back wall behind a filing cabinet and a broken office chair. Paint chipped at the edges. A dent near the bottom like someone had once kicked it hard. I turned the dial. 32-16-8. The lock clicked open. The doors were stiff, The hinges made a high scraping sound when I yanked them open. Inside was a mess: jackets, shoes, phone chargers, a hairbrush, a stuffed animal, books, a watch, reading glasses. Everything covered in gray dust and smelling stale, like air that had not moved in a very long time. I worked shelf by shelf. Top shelf. 3 jackets, 1 child-sized and badly faded, sunglasses with a cracked lens, a Ziploc bag with a silver bracelet inside. Second shelf. 4 mismatched shoes, a phone charger frayed down to bare wire, a water bottle half full of something brown I did not examine. Third shelf. Several books, a makeup bag, a stuffed dog with 1 ear missing. And then, tucked against the back wall of the shelf, a binder. Thin, dark blue cover, tied shut with rough brown twine. A label on the front in black marker. 2 words: night notes. I set it on the desk and kept sorting, but I kept looking back at it. After 2 minutes, I pulled the twine loose and flipped the cover open. The first page had rules typed on what looked like an old typewriter. Letters uneven, some darker than others, the way a ribbon looks when it is nearly spent. The heading was in all caps. Rules for the night shift. Some made sense. Prop the laundry room door open at least 6 inches. I had learned that the hard way on night 2 when the door swung shut and locked me out from the hallway side. But the rest were different. Specific in a way that felt less like safety policy and more like a warning from someone who had worked this exact shift before me. Don't go to the 4th floor between 2 and 4 in the morning. There was no 4th floor. The bowlane had 3 stories. I had seen the blueprints. If the lobby lights flicker 3 times, leave the front desk area immediately. No explanation. Just the instruction, sitting alone on the page. Don't answer room 439 if it calls. Note in parentheses, there is no room 439. Don't use the elevator between 111 and 133 in the morning. Don't answer if room 214 calls after midnight. If you hear knocking from inside the walls, ignore it. I turned the page, a dated log section. I skimmed to the current date and my stomach dropped. March 28th, tonight. The entry read, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Quiet night, cleaned lost and found cabinet per Rain's request. Running toilet in 204, flapper valve. Thermostat in 312, replaced battery. Coffee spill on left shoe at 12:22 a.m. Guest complaint at 12:37, ice machine 3rd floor. Brought kitchen ice in red bucket. Logged hours, 8. I read it twice. The toilet in 204 was real, on tonight's actual punch list. The thermostat in 312, same thing, both confirmed. But the coffee spill? I was always careful. I always pressed the lid down tight. I checked my watch. 11:41. I went upstairs and fixed both jobs exactly as the binder had written them. Came back down and sat at the desk. Checked my phone. 12:21. I reached for my coffee. My grip felt completely normal. The cup tilted. The lid came loose in my hand, and coffee went everywhere. Across the desk, into my lap, straight down onto my left shoe. I stood up fast, cleaned the desk with napkins from the drawer. My shoe stayed soaked through, cold and wet against my sock. I looked at the binder. Coffee spill on left shoe at 12:22 a.m. My hands went cold. I sat back down and stared at those words without moving. You are watching Mr. Dark Whisper. Drop a comment right now. Tell us where in the world you are watching from. And if you have not subscribed yet, do it now. You do not want to miss what comes next. At exactly 12:37, the radio crackled. Ice machine on the 3rd floor was out. I handled it exactly the way the binder said I would. Then I flipped forward through the entries and stopped on April 2nd. 1:17 a.m., used elevator anyway. Hands smelled like coins after. That word, anyway, settled in my chest like a bruise. Whoever wrote this already knew I would try not to use the elevator, and knew I would use it regardless. At 1:12, Rain texted me. A family had arrived early and needed a rollaway bed in room 212 immediately. The rollaway beds were heavy steel frames on bad casters, maybe 70 pounds each, awkward to carry at any angle. The stairways were narrow. The elevator was 15 feet away. I wheeled the bed to the elevator doors and pressed the call button at 1:16. Told myself it was just a machine. The doors opened. I pulled the bed inside and pressed the button for the second floor. The doors closed. The car started to rise, then it stopped. Not a smooth stop. A hard stall between floors. Every button on the panel went dark. The overhead lights cut out a half-second later. The only thing remaining was a faint, greenish emergency glow near the ceiling that did not light the space so much as make the shadows look wrong. Sickly. Wrong. The air went metallic, sharp and stale at the same time. Like old coins. Like you had been sorting through a jar of loose change for 20 minutes and the smell had soaked into your skin. I pressed the door open button. Nothing. Pressed it again. Nothing at all. Then I heard the tapping. Slow, regular, metal on metal, coming from directly above the ceiling tile, moving left to right, then back again. Not random, deliberate, patient, like something up there was testing the surface, checking for the softest spot. I kept my eyes fixed on the door seam and did not look up. Counted my breathing. In for 4, out for 4. Keeps you level when your brain starts pulling you toward the wrong decision. The tapping stopped. The elevator jolted and started climbing again. Smooth, quiet. The doors opened and I stepped out fast. The hallway looked like the bowling. Same width, same layout. Wrong. The carpet pattern was reversed. Dark blue with geometric lines that should run left to right, running right to left. Mirrored. Flipped. Like a photograph printed backwards. The exit signs at both ends were dark. Not burned out, just completely unlit. Red plastic casings, stenciled letters, and nothing glowing behind them. I looked at the nearest door, room 303. I had pressed the button for the second floor. A phone started ringing behind one of the closed doors. Old-style landline bell, sharp and insistent and not stopping. I grabbed the bed frame and kept moving. Halfway down the hall, I saw room 214. Wrong floor. Same crooked number placard. Same scuffed paint. Wedged too close to the door beside it, as if the building had been pressed inward from both sides. I did not stop. Passed the door without looking at it. Found the stairwell at the end of the hall. Same steel door, same crash bar. Pushed through, concrete walls. Fluorescence burning steady overhead. Air that smelled like paint and cleaner. Normal. I went down one flight, delivered the rollaway to the family in room 212, and did not say a word about any of it. Back at the desk, I checked my watch. 1:18, 6 minutes had passed since I left the storage closet. 6 minutes for all of it. I washed my hands in the lobby restroom. The coin smell did not leave. Scrubbed twice with soap. Still there. Back in the office, the binder lay open on the desk. There was a new line on the page, handwritten in fresh blue ink. Darker and neater than anything else there. 2:41 a.m. Check the mirror in the lobby restroom. That line had not been there before. The binder was updating itself, responding, adding the next step because I had done exactly what it expected. At 2:39, I walked past the vending machines. In my peripheral vision, I caught my reflection in the glass panel. I was walking. My reflection was standing completely still, arms at its sides, watching me go. I looked away immediately and did not look back. I did not check the mirror at 2:41. Instead, I walked straight out through the front entrance and stood in the parking lot with my back to the hotel. Set a 5-minute timer. At 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I heard it, faint through the glass door, the chime of an elevator arriving. I finished counting. 5 full minutes. Then I went back inside. I went upstairs with the master key. Room 214. Slid the key in, turned it, pushed the door open 6 inches. Cold air poured through the gap. Not air conditioning cold, something older and heavier than that. And from deeper inside the room, muffled and distant, like sound rising through still water, a phone ringing. I did not step inside. I threw the binder through the gap. It hit the floor with a flat slap. The pages flipped fast, loud, like wind tearing through paper. Then it snapped shut on its own. Something inside the room dragged it away from the door. I reached through the gap, grabbed the edge, braced my boot against the door frame and pulled. It resisted hard. Then it gave. I yanked it free and stepped back. The door swung shut on its own, smooth and final. In the office, I opened the cash drop safe under the desk, placed the binder inside, shut the door, and spun the dial 3 full rotations. The tapping in the basement walls stopped. I sat at that desk from 4:18 until 6 in the morning, without moving and without going back into any hallway in that building. I just sat and waited for daylight. When rain arrived at 6, I told her straight. The binder needed to go directly to corporate, not to another overnight worker, not back into the cabinet. She looked at me for a long moment, then looked at the safe. She did not argue. I walked out of the Bowline Hotel for the last time, drove to the post office and mailed my spare safe key to my own address. Then I kept driving east, past my apartment, past the turnoff for Warrington, stopped for gas once in Klatskani, and got back on the road. By 9 in the morning, I was past Longview. By 10:30, I was crossing into Tacoma, not to the apartment, but straight to a storage unit off Pacific Avenue. Paid 3 months up front, loaded everything I owned into a rental trailer, and left. Found a ground floor studio in Olympia with 2 exits and no overnight deliveries nearby. I only ever worked day shifts after that. Grocery stock, line cook, mall security during the holidays. The overnight warehouse jobs paid double and the graveyard janitorial positions came with full benefits. I turned every single one of them down without hesitation. Some doors you do not open twice. Some shifts you do not go back to. And some binders, especially the ones that already know your name before you have even introduced yourself. You leave exactly where you found them, and you do not go looking. This has been Mr. Dark Whisper. Stay in the light. And whatever you do tonight, don't answer the phone. Like this video. Subscribe to Mr. Dark Whisper. Drop a comment below telling us where in the world you are watching from. New horror stories every week. We will see you in the dark.